Our buddy John in the country of Ireland. How are you, John?
Hey, Mark. How you doing?
Very well, my friend. You sound a little worn out or a little dejected. What's going on?
Yeah, I wept for your country this week, Mark. I rang you over a month ago when I spoke to you about Obamacare, and this week has just been a nightmare. First of all, I honestly think it's getting harder for your country to survive. First of all, on Sunday, when no one that I have seen is outraged at calling the riot police on World War II vets, that's a bad sign for the morals of people in America. And then going on to this debt deal yesterday and Steve Lonigan losing,
I thought they called the riot. Not that it matters, but I think the riot police were called around the White House, the gentleman said. But there shouldn't be riot police, period.
Well, if you don't call riot police on Occupy Wall Street, you don't call riot police on World War II.
Oh, you're exactly right. You shouldn't call them on vets of any kind ever.
Absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree with you. And then this deal yesterday, everybody's saying who won, who lost. All I know, and I know in the bottom of my heart, is the American people lost and freedom lost. And the reason I rang you is I had two questions that I wanted your advice on.
Right.
I believe the end of days is getting close for America to be freedom, and I think you need to go big or go home right now. And the first question I have is, the only way I see of something happening immediately is repealing the 17th Amendment and making senators, because I listened to your interview last night with Ted Cruz, and I've heard a load of stuff behind the scenes, and it's so clear the Senate needs to just either die.
Yeah, but we can't repeal the 17th Amendment because Congress isn't going to do that unless we follow what I've been arguing for, the Article 5 convention process.
How do we start that up?
It's been started. It is starting. I was told today that there are legislators right now in 10 states who are working on it. Doesn't mean they're going to get it right away. There's potential legislators in 10 additional states. So while this is the beginning of a process, it is a process that's beginning. And there is no easy answer, John. That's the nature of the beast here. There's just no easy answer, but there is an answer. There is recourse if people will pay attention to it. And we spread the word the way Chris was talking about, the prior caller, which is why I wrote the book, The Liberty Amendments.
Perfect. The second question I had...
Because you and I both know they're not going to fix it from top down in Washington, are they?
Well...
Look at this. It's a disaster.
I heard a great saying the other day by Albert Einstein, those who create a problem can't fix it. And I think that's so apt for Washington. The second question I had was, I just wanted to... I'm not anywhere near up on the Constitution as much as I should be, but with Steve Lonigan yesterday, I saw a lot of enthusiasm in special elections. What would you think of splitting the House into two parts, into having, rather than having 435 people elected in 1 year, splitting it something in terms of 217 1 year and 218 the next year, and splitting up if there is a big bill like Obamacare, that there's pretty much a referendum on a big bill like that straight away?
No, I really don't think that's going to do the trick. I really think if you have people that don't have virtue, it doesn't matter if you split them into 2 bodies or 400 bodies. The problem is Washington is operating in many respects outside the constitutional construct. And so what I'm suggesting is it is time for us to accept what the framers handed us, the gift that they gave us in Article 5. And no, it won't happen right away. But it shouldn't be dismissed. It should be encouraged. We have state legislator races occurring right now, for instance, in the Commonwealth of Virginia. You ought to ask your state delegate, are you prepared to help us restore the republic? And so at least the reform amendments I propose, which may or may not be of the sort that a state convention would discuss, in most respects it moves ultimate decision-making authority under certain circumstances to 3/5 of the state legislators. For instance, I just don't see, under these current circumstances, I mean, this stuff plays out in front of us over and over and over again. It's not that there's a lacking of bipartisanship. It's not that we all don't get along. It's that the federal government's out of control, and the federal government is not going to reform itself. The federal government's not going to embrace the Constitution. That's the problem. And some people resist it, and they're attacked, like Cruz and Lee and Paul and some of the others, and some people don't. And so we have most of the Republican Party fighting with the Democrat Party over spending levels and so forth, and a handful of folks on Capitol Hill fighting over the Constitution and the and restoring the Republic. And what I'm saying is there is recourse. Whether we choose to take it or not is one thing. But there is recourse. And that and I'm trying to get people to think outside of the mindset that's being fed to us each and every day through TV and radio. Federal, 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 federal. I'm saying, okay, fight federal, but we can't ultimately win at the federal level. We've got to go back to the state legislature level. And it is amazing the enormous power the state legislatures have if they coordinate, if they work together. And we don't need all of them. We don't have to have the bluest of blue states. We need the red states, pink states, and purple state legislatures. And I interviewed the fellow before he was on the air who pointed out that there are 27 state legislatures right now, he said, that are Republican, and another 5 that are half Republican. Okay, great. I understand the problem with the Republicans. That said, imagine if we just started this process. We've just started talking about it. Imagine if we could start focusing some resources and attention to this process. I'm not saying take our eyes off of what's going on in Washington. I am saying let us restore what is ours. John, I got to go. Thank you for your call, my friend. You are always a great caller. And you're a great patriot. Even though you're living in Ireland, I feel like you're an American. And we appreciate it.